What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are doing well. In today's video, we're playing with a lot of stuff. So, not only in the last video, but then when I also reached out on Facebook, so many guys jumped on board helping with the issue. It could be ground, it could be power. I reckon it's going to be battery related. So one of you legends actually brought us over a big four-wheel drive battery with a massive cold cranking amp power. So we're going to be able to eliminate that cause instantly because we have got a new starter. I do want to put it in regardless, but if it is just battery related issue, then that is going to be super easy. So I'll show you the battery right now. This is the big girl just here. It is definitely much bigger than the other battery. I just like to put it on charge overnight. I put it on this foldable table just because lead acid batteries and concrete do not mix. That is a good way to kill a battery. And as well, in the last video when you guys were looking at the multimeter, this multimeter is a cheap multimeter and it only really reads the first couple digits. Anything after what would be the decimal point, it doesn't really read, so you gotta take that with a grain of salt, but this one is floating nicely, good charge on it. The C-Tech says that it's charged. I put it on a reconditioned charge anyways, says that it's good to go. And then thankfully, from my car audio days, I've still got, focus, still got these bad boys. So these obviously slide on the terminal. Then you got multiple 0 gauge outputs. So if we ever need to link more batteries or anything, we got plenty. So one for the positive, one for the negative, and yeah, multiple ins and outs. And yeah, so it should be fine. It's only, sometimes you can run into charging issues if you're running an AGM and a lead acid battery, but because we're pretty much just linking them together as a power source, it's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna chuck these on now, chuck the battery into the wagon, and then we can see, like I'll hit the start. I'll show you what the starter sounds like now, so you can like get a feel for it, but you saw it in the last video anyways, so I can do like a quick before and after comparison. So this is on a fully charged Full River HC44, I believe it is, which is like 500 cold cranking amps, I think, which I really should have done the research beforehand because I know batteries and that's a fail on my part. I should have known. So this is a fully charged battery. This is it turning up. So it's a bit slow. You even heard the starter click. So that could be the starter's dead. That could be bad connections. That could be bad grounds. We'll whack some good solid power on it first. See what that does. Okay, new battery linked up. See how it goes now. So that still sounds great. I feel like it's not enough to fire though. So I think it's safe to say it could use a bigger starter because it's definitely turning it, but don't think it's enough to just really get it there. So I've got this. So I've got this bad boy. This is an Aeroflow X Pro high torque starter. So this is, I don't know what size the stock one is. It's obviously not a high torque one. It's not used to turning a blower as well. But this one is, I think, 1.9 horsepower. They do have a bigger one that was like 2.7 horsepower, but I was going to get that one, which was a lot more expensive than this one, but I then read into it that it said recommended for 400 cubes and up, and this is like 380 something. It's like the equivalent of a 6.4 liter thing, but this should be more than enough. So with a bigger battery as well, and this bad boy, we should never have issues with starting it again. But I'm not looking forward to installing this, so I don't know if I'll do that today. I've got a couple other things that I want to show you guys too. That'll probably be maybe next week's job, but it's got to get done, so I'll start it at least. Like I'll start the job. I don't know how annoying it's going to be, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So one other thing that I also got while I was on my shopping spree was I got a tacho. So this one is like perfectly sized. It's a bit bigger than the other ones, like a bit bigger than these. Now they don't match in color and stuff, but I did it on purpose because this one will be going pretty much right about here kind of thing. So it's hard to focus on here because it's so dark, but see, I was going to get an Tachometer gauge, but see how this one only tops out at 8 grand? That's because our limiter is only set at 6,500. So this one will work perfect for us for what we're doing kind of thing. The only reason I didn't get an Tachometer one is because they are freaking literally 8 times the cost of this one that I got. And this one, it's just a guide. I know I'm rarely going to look at it, so it's just a guide. So what I'm going to do, mount it just in here. And then, so pretty much where the stock gauges would be. And then on the left-hand side, I'm gonna have one shift light. And then on the right-hand side, I'm gonna have one shift light. I'm gonna have the first shift light on the left-hand side. I'm gonna have that set at, you can't really see, at about 5,500 RPM. So 1,000 under limiter. And then this second shift light, I'm going to set that at probably 6,400. So pretty much how it's going to be set up is the same way that Warbird's got 2 lights. Effectively, when that first light comes on at 5,500 RPM, I want to keep that light on. I don't want that light to turn off. I want to keep my revs around that range the entire time. So I want to keep them up there. And then when this light turns on, that's telling me, okay, back off a hair, get out of it a tiny bit because you're about to hit limiter and you don't want to hit limiter. No limiter. So, and then this, like the gauge in the middle, would just be so I can actually physically see it where it's revving. I feel like that'll help a bit. It was only a cheap gauge, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, first light will come on, stay there. That's good revs, keep it up there. This light will come on, back off a little bit. So it should help a lot. And we want to have that in vibration ats, but it's really easy wiring. It's pretty much just power ground ignition, so it gets lights. So I'll just, like, obviously for the ignition, I'll just literally constant power. So when the power's on at the back of the car, this gauge turns on, just the lights behind it, and then you get a trigger from. Yeah, and then you get trigger from the MSD box, which is in here, which has its own tacho trigger that's in here. So from that's pretty much how it'll run up here. And effectively, I got this gauge because the nice dark colors to it, it'll like match the interior and stick out less. Because obviously, like with these ones, they're like silver and like different colors and everything. I didn't feel like it wouldn't fit in the dash as much, even though now I've got two different gauges and brands and styles, but I reckon it's going to look really neat in there. And it's a good size. Because I didn't want a freaking monster tacho that's like this much bigger, if you can kind of assume that, because this is like 3 inches or like 3.5, and then like a monster tacho is 5 inches. This is literally perfect. This is exactly what I wanted, so this will be awesome. But what I am going to do today is I'm going to get rid of all, I don't know if you can see it on camera, all these ugly scratches and everything. Like, well, it's not actually scratches, it's like splitting in the plastic. It's really bright just there. I wonder if I darken it, you'll be able to see it. Can you see all like the cracks and everything? Like the lights look okay. They've definitely seen some shit, but like up here, they're all like cracked and split. So the best way to fix that is with a plastic eyelid. So this is black at the moment, but I got it as plastic so that I can paint it. So I'm going to paint these. Obviously have 2 of them, and I'm going to whack these on. I know some people, it's not their cup of tea. I don't think Tim or Ben like them, but Indy and I both like them. So I'm going to paint them up, stick them on. We'll see how they look. If they're ugly, we peel them off, but I reckon it's going to look super good and super aggressive. So I'm actually keen to see it on there. Now I'm just going to give them a quick scuff with 800 horsepower, 800 sandpaper, just because they're extremely slick at the moment. Now, you could paint straight over them and it would look super glossy and nice, but it's not going to last. And I don't have any primer on me. I probably should, but I don't. So I'm just going to scuff them up, do a nice light coat first of the base coat so they can stick to it, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Alright, so now they're all matte and not shiny anymore. Come over here. It's always good to get your paint warm. That's clear, don't need clear. Mainly when it is cold, like it is at the moment. But got our base coat here, you can kind of see, you can't really see it. Give it a good shake. The can's still freezing cold, so I might actually leave this for a little bit before I paint them. So if you're wondering why I let them warm up a little bit, it's because it helps the paint atomize a little bit better. When it's coming out of a can, atomization isn't always the best anyways. So yeah, you always want to make sure it's room temperature, not too hot, not too cold, so that everything can mix, all the chemicals can work together. and you can get a good paint job. Trust me, if you do that, you're already helping yourself a lot. So what I want to try now, so as you can see, it's trying to read something else here, but I don't know, the screen doesn't work. I just want to see if the voltage drop is as bad now when I hit the starter. So keys on, play the starter, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll hold it for a bit, see what the drop is like. Alrighty, let's see what that was. It's still sitting at 12. I'll watch this back so I can see what it is now. So that is interesting. I just watched that and it still drops to 11 volts, which is interesting with two big batteries. So it could be a grounding issue, the current's still not coming through, or it could just be that it's literally like something is hurt in the starter motor and is literally sucking too much power. I'm gonna check some other pulleys. Lockie Carnage has been he was nagging me saying like, cause he's had stuck pulleys before, which made him like, I think he was saying an alternator pulley locked up on him and he like, it literally shut the motor down and he thought he seized the engine and it ended up just being a stuck pulley. So I'm just gonna see if I can move a lot of them by hand or just move them at all, kind of things like that. And see if that's potentially a big playing issue. It could just be that this starter just doesn't like turning it with the blower as well, but I'll check just to be sure, just to check some more things off. Okay, so get a good grip on that. All right, so the idler pulley's good. Water pump's good. That one's good. And the alternator spins too. All right, so there you go, Lockie. I checked for you. All of those are free spinning. None of them are seized. And that one's good. And obviously you can see the blower turning. So cool, it's none of those. Tell you what, the best thing about the front tanks is they're great for holding tools. It is amazing, so good. Best part about the car being, okay, maybe not the best part about the car being blown, but oh wow. There's a bit of dry methanol on there and it has actually melted that paint. And it's dry there, a bit sticky there. We'll just have to let that dry. But yeah, all right, stop getting sidetracked. I'll finish this job. Alrighty, so base coat on these, pretty much done. I really don't think you can see that on camera. I'll swap to the other lens. Now that's the first coat of clear. Nice little bit of orange peel in there, but that next coat I'm gonna go on freaking heavy with it. So it should come out pretty nice, mate. So I'll give this a couple minutes to dry and then I will smash that second heavy coat on. And then there's the third coat. Still an imperfection, but I mean, it's rattle cans. Bloody rattle cans and you're still getting like a mirror finish from it, so pretty juicy. I want to see what it looks like out in the sun. Yeah, look at that. Whoa, look at that. That is sick. Complete custom eyelids. Check. Damn. Guys, I'm like unofficially taking the title of like King Spray Can. Like, come on, out of a spray can. Look at that reflection in them. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna let these dry and then we'll put them on the car. Alrighty, so that's what it looks like without the headlight eyelids. Now this is what it looks like with them on. So from where I'm standing, oh, it definitely does look a lot more tough. You can't see it too much. Definitely rate them. Gonna have to see what it looks like in the sun, because you never know, it could have more red than the other. Now you can see just around the bonnet and stuff, you can see the top of the headlights. So I'm just gonna chuck some black vinyl in behind there, just so you can't see the top of them. Oh, yeah, like that a lot. Alrighty, so back here is a bit of a mess right now, but I've got this second battery just in for now. It's not secure, obviously. One extra thing that I wanted to do was I added an extra ground. So the ground from the kill switch, which grounds the battery, only goes to this flimsy little metal. So I took that and just ran it in here because I know that this goes through to the chassis rails. So that's just some more 0 gauge OFC, so some thick wiring that I've still got left over. So you can see it's literally just straight copper. So definitely good for it. Can never have too many grounds. All the engine ground should be fine, and then the starter motor should ground through the engine. Okay, so I know that my neighbours have just left, the guys that live just above us. So you know what? I'm gonna put some fuel in the hat. I'm gonna try and fire it. Not start it and let it run, but I'm just gonna see if it fires. So a little bit nervous, fingers crossed. I won't run it for long because I don't want it to freaking blow the house apart, but I'm gonna fire it. We'll try, see if it does it. That didn't seem like it was insanely loud. I'm going to turn the fuel on and I'm going to let it idle. Just for a little bit. We got it to fire, but a little bit of smoke and I can smell it. And I'm an absolute idiot. I literally just like felt this and I was like, oh, that's cold. The rest of them are warm. You fucking idiot. But still fired, and I guess that's pretty good. But yeah, the starter, you could see it was literally starting to smoke. Don't know if there's a shortage of power or what it is, but we got it to fire, so that's good. That's a win. All right, let's go again real quick. Oh, that's burning me. Awesome. Yes, that's freaking sounded so good. All right, so I swore I'd never do that at home, but like I said, I knew upstairs was gone because I watched them leave, and it's at the moment like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, like in the middle of the day. So I know everyone's at work, and surprisingly, it wasn't as obnoxious as I thought. Like I thought it was going to be like call the cops type loud, but no, it was just loud. But everything sounded mint. Everything ran awesome. It's quite apparent that that starter is just struggling. So it's good to, at least good to know that it fired, at least to get a cycle through it. Everything's off. God, it smells good. But yeah, that is awesome. Awesome. Happy that it started. A lot of stress off my back, and it sounded so good. So that is awesome to note. But yeah, that starter definitely needs fixing because it just takes so long to start it, as you saw. Like that was probably like 5 solid minutes of starter before it went. So, and that's what, like, I just added an extra ground, bigger, like added and bigger battery. So it is quite clear that it's bottlenecking down this end on the engine side. So it's a good thing we've got a new starter. The new starter will go in. And even just after that, like all the condensation's already gone. But the injector hat is freezing cold. So is the blower. Cool. Bit of temperature in there. Yep, they're really, really hot at the exhaust. Awesome. Good to see that everything works. That is really good. And just to cycle everything around. Oh, yep, that was really good. Alright, so even though all the hype and excitement of just starting it at the very end of the video, I am going to have to wrap this up so that I can go inside and edit it so you guys get it tonight before I go to work. Very pleased to know that it fired. Very pleased to know that it sounded awesome. Even though it only ran for a couple seconds, it was enough to build oil pressure, enough to flush everything around. I'm gonna drop the oil and just see what it looks like kind of thing, but very happy that it fired because, man, if you saw at Tamworth how pissed off I was getting with this bloody car because it would not start, like even when the starter motor started smoking, I just stayed in it and I was like, you're gonna freaking start. So yeah, seeing that it did start, especially with a bit more power, you could hear it, but yeah, that starter motor is lacking. So, plus, even if it wasn't lacking, you're just pushing it for so long before it starts. So, quicker starter will get it to fire a lot quicker. So, that'll be next week's job. This weekend, I'm going to get stuck into it because it needs it. But yeah, that's where I'm going to wrap up today's video. So, I will catch you guys in Monday's video, which will be at 6 p.m. You know the rest. Be there or be square. Alrighty, guys. Peace.
There's nothing that we got in common. I've been out grinding and hustling, investing this paper. Got tired of eating that ramen. All of my music be heat, I ain't missing a beat. I've been blessed with impeccable timing. Watch all them people who friendly, it turn into envy whenever they see that you shining. Okay, I'm